Today I'm going over the best 5 electronic drum sets for $500. That's coming right up. What's up guys, Justin Greenwald here. Welcome to 65 Drums. This is the place to keep on top of all things e-drum related, so subscribe, press that bell icon if you haven't already. Today I'm talking about the best electronic drum sets for $500. This is a question a lot of people ask me, and I made a video way back in early days of this channel about the best electronic drum sets for $500. By the way, this is part of a series. I have a bunch of different videos on different price points if you're in the market for electronic drums, so subscribe if you want to see all of those other videos, and I'll have them all on one playlist. So let's start off with the first kit on this list, the Roland DD1K. I used to be a really big fan of this drum set, but I've realized it does have some pretty big flaws, and I'll get into that in a second. Let's start with all the good things about it. The rubber pads that they're using feel pretty good. Usually Roland uses a bit softer of a rubber mixture than some of the other competitors, and I like that. The drum module that comes on the Roland DD1K is also one of the best on this list. They just sound really good. In fact, it probably is the best sounding drum module on the list, but you can't change any of the sound, so that will mess with some people, because out of the box, the kits sound good, but if you push the other drum modules on this list, you might get them to sound better because they'll fit your playing style. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Also, this kit is on a sliding mechanism. There's like this center pole that you can slide all the components up and down. It looks super weird and doesn't really look like a drum set, but it makes it really accessible to small kids and also adults because you can move the components up and down. So what are the cons of this thing? First off, it doesn't even look like a drum set, honestly. It doesn't look that great. I mean, you're not buying this to go on stage with anyway, but if it was on stage, it has terrible stage presence. The pads are also pretty small, smaller than a lot of other drum sets on this list, so keep that in the back of your mind. I'd also like to point out that the cymbals are a little bit too wobbly for my taste. So overall impression of this drum set, it sounds great, the pads feel good, but the drum set is just pretty small. It doesn't have a kick drum pad, which is a big con for me. I think it needs to have a kick drum pad, especially if a beginner's playing on this. And a pedal, no matter how accurate they try to make it, it just isn't gonna be the same. So I feel like that's a big con against this drum set. And that's one of the main reasons I don't recommend it as my top pick for the best $500 electronic drum set anymore. But the drum module does sound really nice. Let's move on to the next kit on this list. That's the Cat Percussion KT1. The pads are all nicely sized, and it has that kick drum tower that I really think is necessary whenever you're buying any electronic drum set. The pads have this unique feel to them. They're pretty soft. You kind of have to play this drum set to know what I'm talking about, but just in general, I like the feel of this drum set. What I don't like though are the sounds. These are some of the worst electronic drum sounds I've ever played. My brother also played this kit, and he didn't like the sounds of the drum module either. You'd sort of expect this drum module to be like the $300 territory, and it's not even really incredible for the $300 territory either. Now, if you are hooking this up to your laptop and triggering Addictive Drums or Easy Drummer via MIDI, this drum set would be perfectly fine for you. It'd be great for that use, but just keep that in the back of your mind. Also, this grayish color doesn't really resonate with me. Some people may really like the color. I just don't. I don't like the look of it at all, actually. This is a pretty well-rounded kit, or at least it would be if the drum sounds were a little bit nicer. Let's move on to the next kit on this list, the Yamaha DTX 430K. This is a really well-rounded electronic drum set at this price point. I've always said that different electronic drum companies have a different sound to them, and I'm not a huge fan of the Yamaha electronic drum sounds, but they are decent, and you can do editing to them, which you can't say about the Roland DD1K. Also, if you have an iPhone or a Windows device, you can download an app to do all kinds of changes to the drum module with a touch interface. I think that's really cool. Now, you do have to buy this special cord from Yamaha to do this, and if you have an Android phone, well, good luck. But if you do have an iPhone or like a Windows device, you can do a lot of deep editing within the app a lot more easily than you can by pushing all these buttons with no screen on the Yamaha drum module. So if you have an iPhone, this could be a really cool kit for you. I've actually seen a website selling the DTX 430 and the 450 for the exact same price. I don't know why, but obviously go for the 450 if you find it for the same price. Let's move on to the last drum set on this list. A lot of people have bought this drum set. It's very popular, and I can see why. The pads are pretty large. It's got an 11-inch snare, and that pad does feel really good. I haven't played this drum set. I played the step-up version, the Alesis Command. If you want to go look at that review or that first impressions video, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can check that out. but the drum module is decent for the $500 price point. Maybe not quite as good as the Yamaha drum module, you know, that's up to debate. But the pads are very nice. I like the rubber feel better than the Yamaha one. The Yamaha cymbals, they feel a little more solid than these Alesis cymbals, but just the functionality of this drum module, because it actually has a screen and you can see when you're tuning the drum module, or like tuning the snare up and down. It actually shows you on the screen while you're doing it. You can make your custom kits, all that good stuff, and you don't need an app to do it. And especially if you have an Android device, this Alesis Forge drum set is the clear choice here. The Alesis Forge does a lot of things right. You have that nice chrome rack, you've got the kick drum tower, you have a really decent drum module for the price, and you've got an 11-inch rubber snare, which is huge for $500. So this is why it's one of my top picks for this price point. Now, of course, the Yamaha drum set will probably last you a little bit longer, because I believe Yamaha products are a little more durable than Alesis products. But if you're in the market for an electronic drum set, definitely look at the Alesis Forge and the Yamaha DTX 430 or 450 drum set. Go listen to those sound demos, because obviously we have different tastes in what we like to hear. I think these are both great drum sets. I lean a little bit more towards the Alesis Forge. It's got that large snare, it's got the kick drum, really nice chrome rack. It has a better stage presence and it just looks cooler, and the drum module actually has a screen. So when you're doing the editing within the drum module, creating your own custom kits, you know, tuning the snare up and down, stuff like that, you actually can see what you're doing and you don't need a smartphone app. So that's why I recommend the Alesis Forge, but the Yamaha DTX 430 and 450, those are great drum sets as well. I hope this narrowed it down for you. I have a bunch of videos on this topic, different price points. If you want to keep on top of those, be sure to subscribe. I'm coming out with 3 new videos a week right now, so I'll see you guys in a few.